Bone Gashadokuro, the giant skeleton of starvation and vengeance. Candle, full-length story, and deep legend. Extended English version. In the pitch-black hours past midnight, when the air is cold and motionless, an unsettling sensation creeps over the land. The roads are abandoned. Even the cicadas have gone silent. Suddenly, the stillness is broken, not by a howl or scream, but by a strange, rhythmic sound echoing through the darkness. Clack, clack, clack. It is not the sound of hooves or footsteps, but the grinding of bones. This is the haunting arrival of the Gashadokuro, a towering yokai composed entirely of human skeletons. Its height is said to exceed 15 meters, large enough to crush buildings or snatch humans off the ground like insects. But what makes it even more terrifying is its silence. Despite its enormous size, it moves like a shadow. It doesn't moan or roar. It doesn't announce its presence. It simply arrives. The Gashadokuro is born from catastrophe, war, famine, mass death. Whenever a great number of people perish, especially when their bodies are left to rot unburied, their spirits restless and filled with sorrow or rage, their bones, soaked in the bitterness of abandonment, merge together into a monstrous entity. The hunger of these souls does not fade. It evolves. It twists into something insatiable. It roams at night, particularly around battlefields, ruins, or forgotten graveyards. People who live near these places often report hearing a strange ringing in their ears at night, an unnatural, high-pitched tone. According to legend, this ringing is a spiritual warning. If you hear it, run. The Gashadokuro is near, and it's already watching you. Unlike other yokai who might frighten or deceive, Gashadokuro kills. Without emotion. Without purpose beyond its hunger. It grabs unsuspecting travelers or villagers with skeletal hands the size of trees, lifts them into the air, and bites off their heads in one swift motion. Others are crushed, pulverized into the earth. No one survives an encounter. But perhaps what makes the Gashadokuro most horrifying is what it represents. It is not a random monster. It is a reflection of forgotten suffering. A reminder of what happens when people die nameless and alone. When war claims lives and society forgets to honor the dead. Fire cultural origins and symbolic meaning. The word Gashadokuro combines two elements. Gasha, an onomatopoeic sound mimicking the rattling of bones. Dokuro, the Japanese word for skull. Though first recorded during the Edo period, the roots of the legend may stretch back much further. One famous story connects the Gashadokuro to the rebel samurai Taira no Masakado, who attempted to establish an independent kingdom in eastern Japan during the 10th century. After his execution, his decapitated head was enshrined in Tokyo, where it is still believed to hold power. One version of the myth claims that his daughter, enraged by the injustice and grief of war, used necromantic sorcery to create a terrifying creature from the bones of fallen warriors. This monstrous skeleton rose into the sky and began a march toward Kyoto as a warning and vengeance. Beyond individual tales, the Gashadokuro symbolizes more than just terror. It is a social ghost, a monster born from the sins of neglect. It warns us what happens when we fail to give peace to the dead, when we ignore the cries of the voiceless. It is famine incarnate, grief given form, hunger that has transcended death. Unlike many yokai, which might be mischievous or morally ambiguous, Gashadokuro is pure, remorseless devastation. It is not a being to reason with. It is the aftermath of our worst failures made flesh and bone.